Take that over. I think I told him that, he probably gets it. They use the piano player. He played boogie woogie.
Yeah. I thought it was like classic and stuff.
Yeah, cricket in there.
I watched this guy that played boogie woogie on the public pianos over in England. And it takes. I can hear you. Yeah, like versus C, it's supposed to be right over the lot, right here.
Did you have to get those pianos?
It's over, he just carried it over, you know, I think.
Last week.
They never.
Milton and Snow?
Yeah, y'all got signed.
Okay, I didn't, hey, how are you? Good.
Remember you had.
Yeah, I did. I meant to send a text to you to remind you, but you're on time. There was no need. I think you just felt my ESP.
You had, you were able, let me get over there.
Yeah.
Like I was.
The other day in my back pocket and then in the washer.
As if I was. Let it sit there and never get finished.
Yeah.
About 5:30.
Thank you. Hey, how are you? Good.
Everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said. You'll see. They want it, how they want it to do it. They- First, we can't let nobody go until we get that.
Oh, no, I did it for 2 years.
Hmm?
I did it for 2 years with no elevator.
Yeah.
But they were saying something about people, you know, placing a handicap person.
Well, that's true, we did have that, but,
Yeah, you gotta.
they put in an old.
I believe the, states, all of your trying to make
Yeah, but
accommodation.
we gotta make sure that we're trying to.
Well, there was no way to get. any
Yeah,
person
discuss
to
that,
second,
you know.
third floor.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
But they were,
But she,
our elevator was shut down.
but she
And,
talked
Tom
about,
Bolton did it.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it right.
but anyway, she talked about that.
a new one?
I don't know, see what's going
It
on.
just needs a phone, doesn't it?
There's something she said exactly was supposed to do.
And we tried to get that phone and never, we got to run around and see what we're supposed to do.
And I, hey, you know, that ordinance, that's good. That ordinance. Ordinance.
It's right here.
Oh, really?
It's a very old one.
I didn't even see it.
I think it's 1981.
It's
Like Mike Yost, probably out here.
I think it just needs to be that.
Would you ever want that to be out?
I don't know.
He could.
Oh, that's good. His wife.
Well, yeah, you got to make those.
He sold his business in 2020. So,
How are y'all?
Hey, how are y'all? Good. There's a lot of stuff.
But I'm just saying, that's what I need to do it update, because I did, that's it, like, I was
I'm sorry, what?
Where the sign is?
There's that whole area out there in Johnson City.
Yeah.
There's 160 acres.
Not more than that.
About 6 weeks. I turned it over to Carl.
I wouldn't.
Where I am now, it's 4 bedrooms, 3 acres land.
Wow. I just couldn't make a mistake.
buildings. So when that's what.
Oh, okay. Wait, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna.
Hey, how are you?
I think you asked.
I want to call it.
Oh, today?
You have to find out the time.
Okay,
I thought that was you, but then I thought, well, I don't know.
yeah. How much would you charge me to do a will?
As long as it's a nice, simple one, I'll be about $300.
I actually have property now.
What's that?
I actually have property now. I might need to do one.
Well, that's probably true, because otherwise it'll go based on what the statute says, which means it would go to your brother and sister.
Uh-huh.
You
Well,
want to
that's
go?
probably who I'll send it to.
Okay,
I don't know, though. I always thought about dividing it up between the nephews.
yeah. So, whatever,
Well, I make anyway. We all have to.
yeah. But that's who the law is, that's who the statute is. Okay. Seriously.
Yes. Yeah. The transfer.
I don't know, it's already been approved, it's just up to Aaron.
No.
Oh.
On the run.
Do you have his on the run on the agenda tonight?
Boots.
The liquor license?
Transfer.
It's our grocery.
On the run, no.
On the
It
run.
was on first read last time.
What's the name of the business?
It's a gas station. It's in 2816 Parkway.
The name?
On the run.
under Big Star LLC.
Under Big Star Grocery, the
No,
name of
it's not
the,
a Big Star.
I know, but it's
LLC.
under your parent company.
We've had Big Store Grocery, I don't know.
No,
It's under the parent company of Big Star
Yeah.
Grocery. And, and we had it on first read last time.
I recall adding, a liquor license the last time, the information. you
For
gave
first
me.
read, yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one we talked about? Yeah, it's been placed on first read last Thursday.
okay, then,
So do you have it on there for us to vote on?
I did not add it to my agenda, no, but if it was already presented for first read, I should have it. So
And when we'll get started as soon as we get a
Under the-
quorum, which I think we're about to
it's the
have.
same business entity,
yeah,
right?
the transfer,
Okay.
that's it.
Do we need to let one of them know?
Is this what you're talking about?
Yes. This is it. So,
Yeah, it was presented last time, and that's an add-on to my report, that's why I didn't remember it off the top.
All right, this meeting of City Council is hereby called to order. At this time, we will ask that Councilwoman Christie Thomas please offer our invocation for the evening.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this year, Lord Father God. We thank you, Lord God, for this moment. We thank you for this day, Lord God. We ask that you continue to abide in us, Lord God, as we handle the business of your people, Father. We ask that you touch each and every council member that's here today, those that are not here. Touch our fellow council member, Sam Randolph, as he's going through his healing process, God.
Yes.
Thank you, Father, for the mayor. Thank you for every citizen, every employee, our attorney, and everybody represented for this council. Thank you, Father, that you continue to bless us. We ask that you continue to guide us, lead us on the right path. These and other blessings, we ask in your presence tonight. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Thomas. Let us stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Our roll call, we're going to ask at this time that Ms. Cindy please offer our roll call.
President Young,
Present.
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas, Councilman Carmichael,
President.
Councilwoman James,
Present.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
Here.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas, Councilman Johnson.
Here. Thank you so much, council, for your responses. Now let's turn our attention to our agenda for the evening. The character trait of the month, good actions. Watch your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Watch your words, because your words become your actions. Watch your actions, because your actions ultimately determine your destiny. Let's keep that in mind, our character trait of the month, good actions. Council, you have before you the approval of the agenda. We just have one adjustment we need to make. Immediately after the citizens' concerns, we would like to take up a matter concerning the Industrial Development Board, as we have. Thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve? Yes, sir.
I had talked to Attorney Nelson about, including some property on his agenda. I'm not sure you got it or not. I want to make sure that he be able to make all this.
Are there any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda with the proper adjustment?
So moved, Mr. President.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please allow the record to reflect that it was moved by Councilman Johnson and properly seconded by Councilman Carmichael to approve our agenda for the evening with the adjustment as stated by the chair. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes?
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael,
Yeah.
Councilwoman James,
Yes.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jimmons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas,
No, I have not read it yet.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Right. Please allow the record to reflect that that motion passed. Madam Clerk, read back the results of said vote.
6 affirmative and 1 nay.
All right, that motion to approve the agenda with the adjustments is passed.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I think about that.
Yes, ma'am. So I think your vote would be affirmative.
Yes.
All right. So now what are the results of our vote, Madam Clerk?
7 affirmative.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilwoman Thomas. Now let's turn our attention to the consent agenda for Tuesday, August the 9th, 2022. There are a total of 7 items on our consent agenda for approval this evening. Item number 1, to approve resolution R 252-21/22 for the mayor's office to accept Selma Victory artifact from mayor. Item number 2, to approve the invoice of Hill Carter Law Firm in the amount of $11,800.80. Item number 3, to approve a purchase order with Snow Cleaning Service in the amount of $7,000 with funding dispersed from account number 1-6002.51070.2. Item number 4, to approve a group discretionary to an Alpha sorority incorporated Zeta Omega chapter in the amount of $1,000 for the Reading is Fundamental Risk Program with funding dispersed from the respective counselor's account for a public purpose. Item number 5, to approve a purchase order with Milton Farm in the amount of $3,650 with funding dispersed from account number 1.600.51070.3. Item number 6, to approve a purchase order with Snow's Cleaning Service in the amount of $2,500 with funding dispersed from account number 1-6002.51070.3. And item number 7, to approve a purchase order with RSG Lawn Care Service in the amount of $4,800 with funding dispersed from account number 1-6002.51070.6. Council, those are the 7 items that are on our consent agenda for the evening. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve our consent agenda for Tuesday, August the 9th, 2022? All right, I think I got Councilwoman James first. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, please allow the minutes to reflect that it's moved by Councilwoman Lisa James and properly seconded by Councilman Michael Johnson to approve our consent agenda for Tuesday, August the 9th, 2022. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes?
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael,
Yes.
Councilwoman James,
Yes.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jimmison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Thank you, council, for your votes. The consent agenda passes for this evening. Now, council, the next item on our agenda is the approval of council meeting minutes. I've been informed that we need to wait until the return of the clerk to pass those minutes. So are there any objections to us tabling for the next meeting, our minutes from our last meeting? Any objection? Yes, Councilman Carmen.
I do want to note a change, on page 11. Should be will company WE instead of WE.
And I see that it is being recorded for the clerk for that correction. All right. Any objection to table? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll table that for our next meeting. Now, council, at this time, are there any announcements that anyone would like to make at this time? Are there any announcements? Any council members have announcements? All right, very good. Now we'll move on to our citizens' concerns. We have a total of 3 citizens on our agenda for tonight. And we're going to remind each citizen that only 5 minutes are allotted for citizens' concerns. So nothing personal, but at 5-minute mark, I will say time. So just reminding everyone, 5 minutes. All right, our first citizen on the agenda tonight is Ms. Carrie Beard, and she's here for a fund request. And so at this time, we'll have Ms. Beard.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Carrie Beard, and I'm the Executive Director at the Ohio Center for Mental Health, and I will take 5 minutes. But I just wanted to reach out to you all. In the past, we used to get funding from the city of Selma. In fact, we're still listed on the budget, but we have a 0 next to us. The last time we used to receive $20,000 a year. And the last time we received that was the year ending 9/30/2018. And I'm really just coming to you today asking you to consider giving us funding again. Just since January, we have served over 1,200 clients from Dallas County whose addresses say they live in the city of Selma. So we serve a lot of people in this community. We employ a lot of the people in this community. We provide a lot of services that we don't get any reimbursement for. Our average is annually probably about $900,000 worth of services that we provide that we don't recoup any money for because people are indigent or don't have any Medicaid. So we are really doing our best every day to serve Selma and Dallas County and Wilkes County and Erie County. We get funding from Pine Hill. We get funding from Purple. So not a lot, but they are able to put us in their budget every year and give us money. So I'm really just here urging you all to consider giving us funding again and adding it back to your list of recipients and people who get funding. Just wanted to add too, for those of you who don't know, I think one service that we provide that's really valuable is being able to get mental health treatment in Selma. If you're like me, you drive to Montgomery for a lot of your doctors or to Birmingham, and people in Selma can see us actually in Selma. And I think that's huge. I think that's great. There are a lot of things we can't do here. Mr. Madison's wife worked for us until very recently and did a great job doing counseling with kids in Selma City Schools. So we really try to serve the community. I welcome any concerns or feedback about things we aren't doing the way you want or things you think we can do differently to help you support us more. But I would like to just encourage you all to consider adding others.
Thank you so much. I see Councilwoman Thomas hand up, and then we'll get Councilwoman James. Councilwoman Thomas.
How you doing, Ms. Beard?
Good. How are you?
Thank you for all you're doing in our community. We do know that mental illness is very important for the city of Selma. We have so many mental ill people that we don't even know about. Could you expound a little bit about what the funds will be used for?
I think in general, what we used to do in the past when we got funding was we were able to, the city often had a contract with us where they would pick a project, we'd like to see use the money for this, and then they would ask for data in return. So if you all had a specific project you wanted to consider, and we could give you information every quarter or however back, what it was used for, we'd be happy to do that.
right? Councilwoman James? Okay, awesome. Councilwoman James Thomas?
And I like that program has been around a long time, and we do have a lot of people in our areas that suffer from that mental illness. And I like what you just said, what Councilman Chris Thomas said. We would like to, if we more, if we get the layout of what you do, like, okay, and see that it's doing something else. Okay. I like that question.
Councilman Johnson and Councilman Hart?
And, thank you, answering the questions that I need to know. I'm dealing with this, every day now with my son. With another issue. And we got to run now. And a young man sitting hard to ask me about that week. The person. But anyway, I want to apologize that you wasn't in the budget. You role in the team, really, at the last conversation. We could even make deals. So right now, I hope and pray that we can get this back on track to continue on helping. But that is because it's definitely, you know, I was part of the administration. Take now, but I pray we kind of.
Councilman Harville, and then Councilman Crawford.
Yeah, I just want to say that. Yep, thank you. And I want to point out, I believe the ARPA funds, there's a specific line item in there that says that we need to support mental health, institution and mental health. That helps cut down on violence and other issues that I think we want to deal with.
You have something to say?
I was just gonna say, Ms. Thomas, one thing that I just popped in my head as we were talking. One of our biggest issues is uncompensated care. You know, people who come in, we don't have any kind of insurance, and we provide care anyway. We have people who live in our group homes sometimes who don't pay us anything to live there. So that may be something we could tie to where I could give you information on that, and you can know that your funding went to pay for some of those. And that would maybe be something that would be very clear to you what your funding has been.
Mr. Beard, go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you, Ms. Beard. I want to ask you, that you own facility that recommends mental health. Anything else?
There's a private group or two that do some counseling and things like that.
Ms. Beard, I think everyone here understands that the Heart Mental Health has served Selma for a long time. It's served a lot of individuals, and I think as you said, a lot of us know people that have been employed with the Heart Mental Health for years. And so you've been told thank you. I personally would like to thank you as well. And Mr. Finance Chair, I hope that during our budget negotiations that we remember Heart Mental Health this year and see what we can do. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate your time very much.
And while you have you, let's give them a staff and everyone who was there. We very appreciate of their service. Thank you. All righty, council. Now we'll move on to our next citizen request, and that's coming from Mr. Clyde Richardson.
It's a pleasure to be back up here. That's right. My source of brief time will help me too. My reason for coming is about a license event. Selma has a license called an event license. And but this affects me individually and affects the city collectively because the city is not collecting any money off it. You're not getting any sales tax off. And what has happened is every big empty building that has became vacant in this town has became a mini nightclub with this event license. And it is illegal. Because I don't know if y'all familiar with the event license, but I've been out here a long time. The event license was designed to enhance Water Avenue, to bring the environment of Water Avenue up, into a party area. And that's what it was for, and along, the entertainment district, right? Along with comes that event license is that there are a few players that's supposed to be involved in this, not that. The ABC board is supposed to be involved in it. If they have any events, alcohol's on the premises, admission will be in charge. All the players are supposed to be involved, ABC board, fire department, chief of police, everybody. And it's not happening. Now, by the city has it on the book. The city do have it on the book, and it's in the minutes of the meetings of the city. If an event somehow wrong there, and the city knows they got this license out there and allowing these people to do it, the city is subject to loss. They are, by not having enforcement. Now, the BYOB events, there's no such thing, because anyway, it's gonna be somewhere in there. If they have a BYOB, they charge them, and it's against Alabama law to give away alcohol. You can't give it away. You might think someone who ain't get all our trouble. You ain't gonna do it. If the ABC won't come to get you. The ordinance of it came out in the meetings, and I think we looking over. I can do it. It's not my job to do that because it's what it is. If the fire department and the code have done their job, they know they may not know that these event licenses were formed strictly for Ward Avenue on. Ward Avenue on. When they don't, event licenses and all these buildings right now, and they're knocking me out the box. But guess what? I was paying taxes. I was paying a large amount of taxes. Well, I'm not paying no taxes now because they doing that. So my point is, closed mouth will get fed. If I knew if I was up there just saying something, that's different, but I'm speaking the truth. It is the city's responsibility to put this in perspective. Not because somebody decided to take, what's the next big building around here? Just say one City Hall right here, closed down, outside the rent. Somebody looks at me, I can put me a hall with it, have me parties and everything else. You're not getting sales tax. You're not getting license tax. You're not getting no insurance. You're not getting SIP. And you're losing two ways. The people who were paying are not making it to pay. So now, we need to look at it. I've always suggested to this council to develop a feedback program. I don't know if y'all ever done it, but I'm gonna tell you it again. There's no sense in a person coming to this council and expressing something and never no feedback is given. Because that means there could be bigger eyes and little help. There's no such thing in this city. Not in our country, not in this government, if I'm not mistaken. All men are created equal. And all we asking for is equal application of the law. That's what it's about. My license cost me about $6,000 a year. And I'm gonna tell you why it cost so much. With the amount of insurance and everything that's mandatory for me to do what I do, I have to pay. But you got another man, a counterpart, that goes down there and buys this event license. They can do anything and hold it up and do the same thing. No, he's not paying. He's not paying nothing to the coffers of the city of Selma. It's not personal. What it's all about is the coffers.
Step time. And just give it
the coffers of the city of Selma.
Council members, I see hands up. Councilwoman Thomas, Councilman Carmichael.
I'd like to make a remark on what you said. We did at the time I was up here when we asked the entertainment, yes, it was supposed to be downtown on entertainment area on
That's
the
right.
water, and they can go pull the record up, see what it has for what we voted on the year we voted on.
That's right.
And I think what you said will help a lot. We know that there are a lot of people getting a license for to have entertainment and buildings that have functions. And, just like you said, you paying a lot of taxes, but these people, get these buildings. We need to look at it, President of the council, since he's having a meeting with the tax and license board, and give you some feedback on it.
Councilman Carmichael?
I believe I know what you're referring to, and it's something that we discussed Thursday, and I will bring it back up tonight as unfinished business, so you will stick.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas?
I just want to say to Mr. Richardson, a lot of y'all don't know that he just went under, he went through a major surgery, and we're so happy to have you back with us. And we're glad that you're continuing to have citizens concerns. You never does that. So we appreciate you, we love you, and continue to stay on us, because that's what we need.
Thank you.
But I do want to ask the attorney, are you familiar with this ordinance?
I'm relatively familiar with it, and I think the problem he's raised is one that has surfaced before, and now that he's bringing it up, it's like it's gonna have to be dug into a lot deeper.
Okay, so since Councilman Carmichael said that, I guess this will be on the next work session. Is that correct?
Well, I believe what we had discussed Thursday was that we needed a resolution, according to our code, because this would be a business license revocation, and we need to have a public hearing involving that business license holder at our next council meeting. So I'm hoping that we can get all that, have it posted a week from Tuesday for a public hearing on that at our next council meeting, and hopefully have that resolution brought up by the next work session.
I did the homework assignment you gave me.
Thank
The code section.
Yes.
What's the question? The question is how fast, not if it should be done, but how fast.
Councilman Johnson?
Yeah, we both in the same boat, and life's not cheap, even the sales tax. You have to have sales tax, and I think it costs $1,000 to get that, in order to get my ABC license. It ain't no penance, just the whole, it is a lot. And it is a very thing, you see somebody kind of event, they look so into it, everything you're doing, and all of a sudden you I think it's it. But I've been shooting sky high. I've been mixing that's a lot of money to invest. And then you see some others, doing the same thing we do, but not doing the legal way. Right? So, I appreciate you. I try not to bring up too much, let the city workers try to do their job, code enforcement and all. But I appreciate you coming up and definitely get your point.
Any other council members? Let me say something, neighbor.
Yes, sir.
It's wonderful to see you up here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't look like what he's been through, but you've been through something.
I went through something.
But you are still here, and that means you have purpose.
A purpose.
And so
Good purpose.
we appreciate your good purpose.
I had my heart taken out. 5 hours put in me and brought me back.
Oh, man.
So long time. Well, we are also thankful to see you. Thankful that you bring us something up here that we need, that needs to come to our attention. So a couple of things going on here. The specific matter that Councilman Carmichael and the attorney are talking about, that has to be dealt with however he's talking about. But we need to get a report on this from our tax collector. That's how this needs to proceed. So we have a revenue committee meeting scheduled on August the 15th. And I have it written in my notes to ask the tax collector to give us a report on this specific ordinance and what's collected in enforcement and everything related to this ordinance.
As it stands now, it's supposed to be on one avenue.
Okay. Well, August the 15th, that will be addressed, and I'm also going to ask that the attorney be present at that meeting as well, after hearing from the tax collector and the attorney we may have a recommendation at the end from both of them. But we will be addressing the whole ordinance part at our revenue committee meeting on August 15th.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good to see you, sir. All right.
You have time, President Young.
It's at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. Thank you. I'm sorry, what was that, Ms. Ellison? 4 o'clock p.m. Thank you, Mrs. Ellison.
Got it.
4 o'clock p.m. That's whatever 15 five. Okay, very good. All right, now we'll go on to our next citizen concern. This is coming from Mr. Tom Hetman.
Unusual. I'm gonna start at the end because I want to make sure I get this out to you. That's what I'm asking for, and then I'll give you the backstory. What I'm asking for is this ordinance 03802/03 to be investigated by the city council and rescinded. To me, it's an unfair infringement on the property owners in the area. And I put in my time at All Lock as a time and motion study engineer, and I currently have a sales agreement on some property out in Johnson City, which is in this area. So all I'm asking is for y'all to come back and treat the people of Johnson City and the people in the PJ with the same lack of infringements that you do anywhere else in the city. Now the backstory. Back in summer of '73, I was with Independent Lock Company, and All Lock came and bought us out. They didn't treat hazardous waste like we had been treated. There's zinc dichromates, which is a yellow dye. There's trichloroethylene, which is a solvent, and they just poured it out the back door. This stuff barrel to process properly. So they had a spill. They call it the All Lock plume. Well, by the 90s, this became such a problem that ADEM and the EPA came in. They put a restriction on it. They installed test wells in the area, and they put aeration pipes out to the center block building that's there now. And this was in the late 90s. This was Duke Brady that dug the wells. Okay, about in the early 2001 or so, the city acquired the property. And that's when they came up with this ordinance in '02, December of '03. This kept on going until about '07, as best as I talked to people that should know, when they had a chemist come in from ADM, certified that everything was good to go. They quit aerating the surface water. They capped the wells. They removed the testing equipment. That's the end of it. And that's 15 years ago. There's been no formal notifications of problems or anything since then. So it's a dead issue to the state as far as ADM and EPA is concerned. It's not a dead issue to the property owners out there in Johnson City because it's a detriment to the value of their property. So all I'm asking is that we kind of clean up our mess. We sometimes sit up here and we find new ways to get money out of citizens and restrict their freedom, but we don't clean up behind ourselves. As I was telling Clay before the meeting, the city ordinance book is a joke. I mean, there's so much stuff in there, not talking loud in the train depot, to talking rude to a lady in public, to not sweeping your sidewalks by 9 o'clock in the morning. That really needs to be looked at. There's some stuff in there that could get the city sued if they try to enforce the ordinances that are in there. So anyway, that's where I am. Now, what I'd like to do is get the city council to look at this, to come back and say that it's no longer needed and get it rescinded so that the people in Johnson City can have the same rights to their property as anybody else in the city. I know it takes some time because it took me 2 years to get an information request form change that had been outlawed by the state since the 80s. And it took me 2 years to get that changed. So I know it takes time for the city council to do stuff, but I would like this to get looked at.
Councilwoman Jay Thomas.
I'd like to say something. You put this ordinance on there. First of all, this ordinance not on the code. Is I looked it up when I knew it was coming. I was trying to find out how this ordinance is the code. And you said it was done in 2000. Let me finish. You said it was done in 2002.
Yes.
Here it is 2022. Something that has been on the book that long. And the sign, because when I was trying to, I was doing my research, I couldn't find it. And I asked Clay, just before we came, I said, I'm trying to find this ordinance what he's talking about. How can you miss? I listed on our report. And, the reason I'm saying this is because something with a situation like this here, if it was bothering you ever since 200 years, that's why we have our brownfield grant to do that study and research out there. And this is why I've never heard of this. And I was concerned, when you brought it forward to us, and I want to read up before you came, find out what we come talk about. And something you brought to the council, I think that is it need to be an area that you are concerned, a citizen in that area concerned. This needs to be brought to our planning development, because this is what the brownfield grant does say. If it's an answer to the public, or to the people that live out in the area, who like they would do a study.
Two things. Number one, I had the city clerk research it. It is still a backup order. It's never been rescinded. They did that. Yes, it's been on the books for 20 years, but it's been stopped being enforced. Well, it's been stopped as far as the testing for 15 years. So it's those two.
Council Carmichael.
Obviously, this was not put in place to hurt anybody out there.
Not the proper place to do what?
No, it wasn't put in place to hurt anybody or to.
It hurts the property values.
Right, but that's not why it was put in place. It was put in place to protect public health.
It did.
So that nobody was contaminated at sick.
Its job.
So I think it would be wise of us before we rescinded this to have it approved from the ADM and the EPA that these wells were capped. And not, I'm not just talking, I don't know who we send this to, but somebody in the executive branch just to get us proof that ADM and EPA have signed off on this, that it is no longer a threat. And if they say it's not, then I have no problem with that.
That'd be y'all's job. I mean, I just turn it over to y'all, however y'all need to handle it, fine.
I'm not.
Okay. Councilman Johnson.
I think our engineer, it's very hard to kind of look into the urgency. You need to be hard out there.
All right, any other council members? Mr. Headley, with this ordinance, what I propose to the council as well is that we take a copy of this ordinance and that we send a memo to the executive branch, to the mayor, and ask the mayor to look into it, because he has contact consistently with ADM and EPA. And then after he's done that, we have a recommendation to us.
He's aware of our concerns on it.
Very good. Well, we'll let him know that you have presented to us and ask and wait for him to submit a recommendation to us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, council, thank you so much. I think now we can move on to our next item, which was Mr. McNeil here, Attorney McNeil here. And he's here concerning the Industrial Development Board appointments. And you all know we did bring that up in our work session. And so I know that there've been some little changes or whatever, but we'd like to hear from Attorney McNeil.
The Industrial Development Board was established here in the city, was incorporated back in the 1950s, and is pursuant to a statute that's under Title 11, Chapter 54 of the Alabama Code. And we don't meet that frequently. We only meet when there's an industry that's in need of a bond issue or a refinancing bond issue. And the last time we had anything was back in 2018. So we're kind of dormant for a period of time. International Paper has been the only industry here locally that has been utilizing bond issues for probably the past 20 years. And I was contacted by International Paper's counsel earlier around the end of July that they need to do a refinance on a bond issue they did back in 2011. So when I checked to determine the status of the members of the Industrial Development Board. It was evident that several of them needed to be, have their terms re-upped. And I also determined that we had 3 members of the board who are no longer qualified to be members of the board. In order to be a member of the board, you have to be a resident of the city of Selma, you have to be a registered voter in the city of Selma, and you cannot be employed by the city of Selma in order to be a member. Now, none of these members received any compensation. It's really more of a function that they perform to make sure that industry in the city that is using the bond issue funding for their capital expenditures, if they're able to do that, and these bonds can be issued so that they're tax exempt. It is people that buy the bonds don't have to pay income tax on the interest that's paid on the bonds. So we have 7 members of the board, and of those 7 members, they serve staggered terms, and 4 of the members have been on the board previously, and those members are Catesby Jones. Mr. Has been a member of the board probably for the past 16 or so years. His term expired on April 24th of this year, and we would be looking to have him reappointed for the term from April 24th, 22 to April 24th, 28. Also, Mr. Alphonse Perry, his term expired on April 24th, 2022. So we'd be looking to have him reappointed from April 24th, 2022 to April 24th, 2028. And Mr. Edward T. Livingston's term expired on April 24, 2022, and we're looking to have him reappointed from April 24, 2022 to April 24, 2028. In addition, David McCormick, who's the administrator at the hospital, his term actually expired on April 24, 2020. So we'd be looking to have him reappointed from April 24, 2020 to April 24, 2026. That then brings 3 new persons to be appointed to the board to serve terms of members who are no longer eligible to serve as members. And the first one that I have would be Ms. Jeria Martin to replace the term of Elizabeth Rutledge. And that term would run from April 24, 2018 to April 24, 2024. Also, the term of Mr. Edward McCurdy, who was formerly a banker here in town, is now no longer a resident of the city of Selma, and we'll be looking to appoint him, to appoint Andrew Stewart, who's the president of Bank Trust Bank here in Selma, to serve a term from April 24, 2018 to April 24, 2024. And then finally, Mr. Frank Chestnut Jr., who was a member of the board, is now no longer a resident of the city of Selma. And Mr. Corey Bowie, who served that term from April 24, 2020 to April 24, 2026.
And this city did keep the minutes trust market bank trust.
Oh, yeah, we changed the name.
All right, I see your hand up, Councilwoman Thomas.
Mr. President, I know you just signed the paper, but we got a copy with the name on the branch. And there, him, but he had nominated,
He just, if you listen, he just said that.
I've been trying to correct.
Yeah, he corrected that.
Okay.
Okay.
I spoke
Mr. Chestnut had moved until I sent him an email and he called me and told me he would. I didn't know he.
It's been corrected. Yes, Councilwoman Turner.
For those additional, I mean, I know you said, Real Mart, okay.
Yeah, Korea Martin, Corey Bowie, and Andrew Stewart.
All right, Councilman Carmichael.
Can we make a motion to go ahead and?
Yes, I was hoping we were gonna do that. Yes, yes. We got resolution. We don't have the numbers in there, but we can go ahead and approve pending. Yeah, with the number, placed in there, by the clerk upon her return. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Nancy Jones, David McCormick, Alphonse Perry, Frank Chestnut.
Not Frank Chestnut.
Corey Bowie has his line.
Sorry. Let me change that. I'd like to make a motion to approve Nancy Jones, David McCormick, Al Perry, Corey Bowie, Maria Martin, and Andy Stewart to the Selma.
And Edward Livingston.
And Edward Livingston to the Industrial Development Board of the City of Selma.
Okay, it's been moved and properly said that we approve, the nominations of those individuals, read by Councilman Carmichael, to serve on the Industrial Development Board for those terms as indicated by Attorney McNeil, and for that resolution, those resolutions to receive the appropriate numbers upon the return of our clerk. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville,
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas, Councilman Carmichael,
Yes.
Councilwoman James, Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas,
Yeah.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Attorney McNeil, I think that concludes your business with us.
I appreciate it. You don't know how much I appreciate it. Those, we've already scheduled a meeting for August 25th. So, thank y'all so much.
Oh, and one more thing. Roll Tide.
Roll time.
All right, these are part of the Family Club. All right, thank you for that. Now we will move on, council, to our attorney's report. Mayor's report. Okay, the mayor's report had 3 items on it at this time. One of those items, the Selma Victory Artifact, that was taken care of on consent, so that was approved. And then the education tools, that is up right now for discussion. Council members, is there any discussion on item number 2 of the mayor's report? Yes. Item number 2 of the mayor's report. Okay. What is the pleasure of this body at this time concerning item number 2? Okay. Is there a second? These were the tools that were recommended from Interim Chief Franklin Edwards, Resolution R-229-21/22.
President Young.
Yes, sir.
I believe we were waiting, did we get clarification that they were on state bid list?
Yes.
Change that resolution?
They did say that they are on the state bid list. That was given to us in a response.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay. It's moved and properly seconded for the purchase of education tools as indicated in item number 2 of the mayor's report, resolution R-229-21/22. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville,
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas, Councilman Carmichael,
Yes.
Councilwoman James,
Yeah.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas,
You said we both for this for the fire department,
Yes, ma'am.
and you said you got a paper that all over the zone.
If you looked at the responses, it was in there. Yes, ma'am.
I looked at it.
It was in there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. And then item number 3, the one-time lump sum payment, that goes over to the attorney's report as well. So we're gonna take it up under the attorney's report. The one-time lump sum payment to retirees. So that concludes everything off of the mayor's report. Yes, sir.
I just want to remind Attorney Madison that in the future, if we can, if something is on state like this, that we can have that written.
Sure.
So that we'll know. That's right.
Okay, so now, council, let's go to the attorney's report and let's look at the resolution R 245-21/22, funding retiree longevity bonus. I know there was some discussion about this that took place in the work session. And so I remember that some of you all may have had questions. And so those questions can be read into the record now for the clerk if you had questions about this retiree bonus resolution. I can't remember who had questions. Somebody did.
I had a question.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
Back, I took the time today. Question was that, I know with the previous budget, it always been in and, come to our, of the budget that the mayor had, did, it was left out. So my question is this here, don't we have to find the money, and she left it out, don't we have to find the money to place that in the budget?
We'll have to transfer the funds to this account on this resolution, or the change the resolution.
It says in the resolution from funding source 1.9910.52100. But if you look at the budget, I think it was 0 in that line. So we've got to actually, when we do the budget, we'll have to remember to fund that line to support this.
When is the payment?
Good question, Mr. Attorney. They give us
We have to, yes, submit a resolution to RSA prior to September 1st, but that'll be in this budget year.
that's approval of the resolution. That has to be done by September 1. When is the payment? October 1.
Mr. President, the payment can be made as a one-time lump sum payment or spread over a 12-month period.
Okay. All right, so we can take this up when we do the budget process. Okay.
But we need to do a resolution. We can do it. We do have one more meeting before that today, but just keep that in mind.
Okay.
We don't need to wait.
Let's do it.
But I think the resolution does need to read that, does it say fiscal year 2023? I think it needs to read that we're going to make payment after October 1st, fiscal year 2023. Just to be, I mean, if we're going to pull it into this account, we'll have to make sure that line item has that as a funds in this fiscal year 2023. And if we vote on this resolution now, it needs to read that we're pulling it after October 1st, and we make sure we fund it. Otherwise, we'll need to have a budget transfer document also at our next meeting.
Which is what?
And expend it prior to the next meeting.
Right. Let's not overcomplicate it. I think we need to get something passed very soon with the information concerning the correct budget line item number and where the funding is coming from. And whether we're gonna do it by 12-month payments or one lump sum. So I think that whatever resolution that is packed needs to have those 3 things at least.
And Mr. President Young, I understand Councilman Carmichael's concern. I also agree with Councilwoman Christie Thomas. The key point was to have this done by September 1, or else nobody would qualify as an eligible retiree. The resolution that can seal the exact method of payment. this started out as a lump sum request, and the more I read the information, it said either or. So that's why that's in the resolution to begin with. The thing that I think is most important is that the action be taken before September 1st. A separate resolution can be drafted saying the method the council elects to approve it, and the answer can be obtained to your questions about where the funding's coming from.
I think we do need to make a determination on the method in which we want it paid, whether it's 12 months or the one-time payment. We can do that tonight so that he can craft the appropriate resolution. I see your hand, Councilwoman.
I think it's also important to over what qualifies for that person to get that one time on 12-month payment. I think that was one question.
Any eligible retiree who retired before March the 1st of this year.
Any person that retired before March the 1st of 2022 that was employed by the city would be eligible for
Correct.
longevity pay.
Correct.
Longevity pay.
Correct.
Okay.
Which will start October 1, which is
start
why the necessity for the vote before September.
And we're thankful that they did this for our retirees. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
And also, I was reading up on it too. You know, we say, if any of these people get like under the Medicare, they would not be able to get that much.
I can look, but I haven't seen that language yet.
Okay. All right. So, council, I at this point, the chair is entertaining motions concerning the method of payment, whether that's 12 months or one-time lump sum payment. Is there a second? All right, it's been moved by Councilwoman Christie Thomas and properly seconded by Councilwoman Lisa James to request that the attorney create a resolution indicating a one-time lump sum payment for the funding for the longevity bonus for our retirees. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Councilman Harville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph. Councilman Jemison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
I want to say yes, and also I'd like our attorney to look at this, in this act, bill, because it's in here, that's why I read it. And it says that we are agreeing to give one time, raise for all of the retirement, and then I said, like, come on, not raise, I mean, it's not the raise, the lump sum for the retirement that they want one time. I would like, so I'm voting for it, but I would like to also decide that was passed. Said in there, so some of my citizens that retire might be there.
We got a motion on the floor, Councilwoman Thomas, and so it would be best if you make your vote, and then after we get through voting, read your question into the record for the clerk. So what is your vote?
My vote is yes.
Okay, continue, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Council, for your votes. Now, Councilwoman Thomas, read your question, your request into the record.
My request is to the record, this act that they passed for this retirement. I read it today, and I saw in there where that any, you know, that we have retirement, they get Medicare or anything like that, they will not be entitled to. And I read it in here, this is why I say you are attorney.
I've already made a notation to go back and review that as a possible exception
Yes.
to eligibility.
And that's why I was more concerned about the ones that are retired and they in the practice where they get their Medicare. This is
Good question. And Mr. Attorney, so we'll look to a resolution presented at our next work session with those things that we stated. Okay, thank you. The next item on the attorney's report was the resolution concerning the virtual meeting and policy. Council, are there any questions, concerning, the resolution and the policy? I know we did have some discussion at the, workshop. Councilman Carter.
Did we rest the effective date on this, or can we, when we make a motion, should we, order the effective date? Or is that not necessary?
He's asking about the effective date of the legislation.
Effective date of our, when we'll actually start using it. Because whereas, you know, the effective date from the legislature, that's their effective date. But we can make a determination as to when we want this
Sure.
in effect.
Sure.
And so that's what Councilman Carmichael is saying, the effective date. Anything, anybody else have any comments on this, resolution? Okay, I just, and I might be a little too, strict or whatever, but I just feel like there needs some teeth in it, in regards to, missing it. Just, so I guess I need interpretation. If I call y'all and say I got a headache tonight, can I not show up? Because that's an illness to me.
I didn't know you were going to ask that question, but
Okay.
in my due diligence, I was reading up on how to control excessive absences from meetings. And the generally recommended method is to tie attendance at the meetings to pay. That's the generally recommended, but you can devise any method that's not illegal, immoral, or unethical to make that a matter with teeth, as you put it.
Because and please, I'm not saying anyone up here would abuse it, but this is something that we're setting as precedent for future councils. And we want to make sure that we put something on the books that's legit. And and someone will still think of a way if they wanted to abuse it. We know with the law, people always think of a way to break it if they really want to. But I think as in its current state, we could do a little better, putting a little teeth into it. I would recommend, because we do have time to adopt it, and then I've heard of people say that the means in which this is used, because right now that I don't see anything. I don't know if it's working or not. And so I would like to know. We need to find out exactly what means will be available to, what technology will be available to us to do it. That is a question, Madam Clerk. We would like to find out the appropriate technology that we will use to implement the resolution. In the meantime, my recommendation is to put, since this is something that the council has to operate within itself, I'd like to send this to the administrative committee. If the administrative committee take a look at it and make some before with things that come from our legislature, you can't take away from it, but you can add to it. And I think that we need to add a little bit to it. Councilwoman Thomas.
I remember reading law, but does anybody remember or not whether there, how many meetings could be missed by one person? I don't remember if that was in there or not.
In the state laws, I think it's 90 days.
90 days. No, not the state law. I mean, like if they included how many meetings you can actually not be present.
You're asking about guidelines, and I do vaguely recall that, but I don't want to quote what I saw now because I'd rather go back and reread it and bring that information back. But what you're saying is there are guidelines for how many meetings you should be able to miss.
Right,
Yes.
and you can do, how many meetings you can miss. I know we have one already for the state, but I'm saying, for this electronic resolution, how many meetings can one person use electronically?
Oh, I'm using it.
That's something that the administrative committee is looking into.
Well, I was asking, was there something already in the law?
I see.
This law that they just created.
I don't think, you don't see anything right now?
I don't think there's anything in the statute about how many meetings, but I think there is lead and on recommendation for attendance, what the appropriate punishment is for missing. I think there is a standard or a guideline on how many meetings could or should be missed, but I don't think there's a state statute on that.
Yeah, that's for talking about just regular meeting attendance. We're talking about something that applies to use of this technology.
There is no.
There's probably nothing.
There's no guideline in the statute.
Right.
On how many meetings.
And so that's why it needs to go to the administrative committee so that we can do that. So is there any objection to sending that to the administrative committee? Any objection? I see your hand up. Councilor Carmichael. Okay, any objection?
We constantly every week, getting the right administrator, what's the committee now. We got a council on the home, I'm pretty sure you want to line to be part of it. So my question, you just said, we is not gonna delay, we can, just say we got it all the time out. We can go ahead and say we can make this in effect in the next 2 weeks or something.
I think that we can get the administrative committee to get a meeting on it sooner rather than later, and then we can make a vote on it. And so
So y'all are rushing me to do a meeting, we have a now. When I get my calendar, I will let you know when I can meet.
Okay.
I didn't go there with that.
I understand.
You know, all I asked is a simple question. I mean, the question was, whenever we do this, it could be next year. Once that got taken care of, how soon will we be able to put it in effect? That's all I.
Right, and Councilman, I get you now. So Councilman Johnson, as soon as we get a recommendation from the administrative committee, we will have it come up on the agenda for council meeting now. And by that time, we'll be able to make it effective immediately.
That's all I have.
By that time,
Yes.
yeah. And we still want to get the response regarding the technology that we're going to use too, that I gave in the city. So in due course, we know that the administrative committee will be and offer something to the council. Everyone's fine.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you.
President Young.
Yes, sir.
A postscript to what you just said is, I believe it's in the policy rather than a resolution, that the IT director should choose and report to the council the recommended method of communication electronically, and the clerk should notify the public as to those ways and means arrived at by the council with the support of IT.
We'll take all that up when we do here in the administrative committee, okay?
They might want to show up at the
And if they want it passed, they should show up. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next. Yes.
Should we vote for them to be there? We can take a vote for them to be there.
I don't think we have to take a vote to ask people to come to the
As
meeting.
long as there's no objections, I guess.
Yeah, we're expecting them there. If they're not there, that's going to prolong the process. So we need them there so that we can get our responses. All right, so this is requiring all of us to work together. All right, the next item was item number 3, which is resolution R 248, 21/22. And that was the dilapidated structures list. I know there was some discussion on that at our council meeting, at our work session. Anyone this time have any questions or like to enter anything on the record concerning this resolution? Councilwoman Jackson.
I do, because I think we actually clarify the correct housing on that list. Because I know Councilman Thomas has the one person out of homework, so I think someone asked for a correct list. And then I made mention about the one that was on Facebook.
And you're correct, Councilwoman James. And what I did in response to that was 2 things. Number one, I talked with the code enforcement director and asked him where these houses were coming from, whether they were new or not, and whether or not they should not have already been on our original list. And the answer I got back was with the exception of possibly 2, yes, they were on the original list. Where I asked about the other 2, and I was waiting on further information. I don't have that yet, but I will get it. I also went back to the original list, which I think I brought to the meeting tonight, but I wanted to compare for myself the original list that you voted on with this list. And I got it yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to go through the entire list. The first list was about 70, 80 properties or somewhere around there.
And also, of course, about one, others that was on, I think, about your little Anderson or something.
Well, Councilwoman Thomas mentioned the property that she said was not in her ward. And did you mention another one?
I think it was one that, who was talking about that probably was already had some work done to it already.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I did talk with Public Works Director Hicks about that too. And he said, yes, there was a property. I think it's a matter, this is Ellison brought up, but I think he said he did talk with her about that property and did point out that there was a request by the homeowner to cease demolition on it. And he said he stopped. And then I asked why, and he said they claimed that they stated that they had not received notice. So he stopped.
You think we can get something right with that? Because that can become to be a big.
In writing from Mr. Hicks.
Because we don't want some way it look like she's calling the council for what's going on now. And we don't know anything about it.
Well, the council's not at fault, that's obvious. But you want something in writing from Mr. Hicks?
We want something right because if someone have already started tearing down the house and this person claiming that the council had something to do with it, when they tell council, they include all of us and we know anything about that. So we're trying to stay out as much of the public doing wrong because we don't know anything. If someone have already started working on that house, why should we go back and try to tear it down?
Well, those weren't the facts that I had presented to me. The facts presented to me were that there was no notice that the house was being demolished. Not that they had started repairing it.
People say that they almost good with it.
Well, we may be talking about different houses, and I can't answer that.
Okay, let me say something. The property, and it may be the same one y'all talking about or not. The problem, the property that I am looking into was the one that Mrs. Ellison, who has her hand up. And I'm going to ask that she speak, and then I'll go ahead, Mrs. Ellison.
Is my name?
Okay. Now, let me point out the issue here. 2513 Valley Creek Circle. Question I asked in the work session was, have we already voted to have this property demolished? That was the question I asked. Because if we already voted to have this property demolished, then when they went out there and started working on it, we're okay. But if we did not already approve to have this property demolished, then it would look like someone started the work and now we're coming back trying to fix it. And that would be an issue. Everybody follow me on that?
Yes.
Because that's what we need to get clear. Because that's where you infringe upon the council, because it makes the council look like it didn't know what it's doing. And it also makes the council look shady. And so we just want to make sure that we are doing things legally, morally, and ethically. So I'll put that question into the record. Have we already voted to demolish? Now, I'm going to make sure I get this correct. Has 2513 Valley Creek Circle already been voted on in a resolution involving the dilapidated, unsafe structures? And if so, can we be provided with that resolution as signed and authorized by Council President, the Mayor, and attested to by the Mayor? Okay? And I think once we get that, we'll be okay with it. But if not, then we have a bigger issue before us. Councilwoman Thomas and then Councilman Carmine.
I need to speak on my behalf of my issue. All of those houses. The 300 block of Elliott Adams, the reason why I couldn't find is because I know the owner. The house has already, he tore the house down. What happened is now, Saturday, all day Saturday, I saw public work in hotel. They were cleaning the private property off the man that owned the house. He had already took the house down himself. They was over there Saturday cleaning the land off. Because when Mr. President told us, when I looked on there, I know everybody that owned their property over in that area. And for the 300 mentor, this house just codified about, I think approximately about a month. In my name, right? I live on Paul, it's on mentor, right? This house just codified, I say maybe about 3 weeks or a month. And today, they were taking it down. On Gamma, the property owner of Gamma, me and her are very close. She lives out of town. The house was burnt down. The house been burnt down over probably almost a year. She was in the process of her and her family. Her name is on the property. Her and her family was in the process of getting the house taken down. And I don't know who made the move, but the person that pays taxes, her name is on the property. She wasn't aware of the city coming in. So we cleaned it, they have just cleaned it up. Friday it was over there. It's gone. The brother went by and he said, oh wow, the area is clean. So the point is that some of these properties is not on the list that we voted on. Because we did vote on the one they taken down over here on minimum. It just codified. It just codified by possibly almost 3 to 4 weeks. And the thing that I'm saying, we're taking down houses with that house that's been burnt down in our ward for years. I right here. Around there on LA Hampton down there, people been trying to get out of the neighborhood. And it needs to be now, it's been burnt down for over 7 or 8 years. It's not moving. But you go take out a house that's been burnt down for over 3 to 4 weeks. And
Okay, thank you,
that's
Councilman.
what I'm talking about.
All
It's
right.
not here.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Carmine, then we move on.
Okay, and I apologize in advance because I have a couple of points here to make. First of all, the question that I asked in the last council meeting was, can we get a list of proposed properties to be demolished with the cost of demolition of each property? The answer was no, vendors are not willing to go out and build 90 different structures individually without appropriations for funds to pay for it. Now, here we have, what is it, 10 properties? So it's not 90, it's 10 properties, roughly. And according, and I want this on record, according to the procedure, number 10, once again, if the owner fails to reply to the certified letter for notification or repair or demolition of the structure, or the structure is not demolished or repaired by the owner, then this point right here, the code enforcement officer shall proceed in retrieving estimates for the total cost of repair or demolition. That's this point right here, where we're at. We need estimates on these houses within this resolution. The estimate shall be presented to the city council for approval, and the city council shall adopt a resolution appropriating the funds for the cost of demolition or repair. It's very clear what's within our procedures. The answer to our questions last meeting were scapegoats. This, just follow the procedures is all we're asking, and we can vote on these things and get them moving forward and get some houses going there. I'll just stop there.
Last time, Councilwoman Thomas, yes.
Oh, it might be my last time, but I'm gonna speak on this. We sit up here, yes, and the citizens need to know. We sit up here, they're using, they might be using an ordinance back then when the old mayors. There was they're supposed to be idea. They what they put them out. Stuff. People that ordinance.
You can place that question on the record, Councilwoman Thomas.
I think we need to put that, we need to get that ordinance forward.
I think you need to make that in the form of a question. You would like to know the order. Tell Ms. Cindy the question.
They said I would like for you to have that ordinance pulled up from, whenever they, I think it's under one of the mayor's administration that it was not done during the previous council. I think they're using an old ordinance.
All right, council, let's move on to our next item under the report. The resolution R 253-2122 Alabama Recycling Fund Grant Approval. I don't think that one was on the consent agenda. So that's why it wasn't placed on there. Any questions concerning approval of this grant? That's item number 4 in the attorney's report.
Mr. President, I just want to make a point that the mayor said in his fixed Friday show on Friday that E3 Solutions was responsible for this grant, and E3 Solutions is not here in this grant.
All right, anybody else want to speak on resolution R 253-21/22? What is?
We just need somebody to be able to manage it.
We have to have someone manage.
That would be the common sense.
All right, so we need someone to manage it. What's the council's pleasure concerning this? Any issues or objections to tabling until we find out who will be managing it? All right, so Madam Clerk, in your minutes, the council would like to know who would be managing the grant under resolution R 253-21/22. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next resolution, R 254-21/22. And I know the issue with that was some language in the resolution. It was like a cut and paste issue. Has that been taken care of now? And we can look at it.
You're saying, resolution item number 5?
Yeah, that was item number 5.
The JAG grant line item.
You got a question?
Yes.
What is the question?
The cut and paste was the second paragraph there. It says, whereas the city of Selma is desirous of entering an agreement with the state of Alabama, acting by through the Alabama Department of Environmental Management and the Recycling Fund Grant, and the agreement for the grant is before this council title grant number, blah, blah, blah. And that is the same second paragraph from the previous resolution that we just tabled.
I recall that language and the request to do that. That information was, no, it was not changed, and I was asking for the help from the Planning and Development Department.
Okay, so we'll wait and bring that back up once you've done that with the appropriate changes. So we'll table that until you bring it back up in your report. So I'll make that.
This agreement was, the house grant was one that was already approved, but the agreement had not been passed on, and that language was one of the reasons for the hold up. But those were both presented.
And then items number 6, we approve that on the consent agenda. The yellow card invoice, industrial development board appointments, we approved that with Attorney McNeil. You had something else, I think, Mr. Attorney.
I did.
That Councilman Johnson.
I do, and item 6 and 7, you're right, we're already taking.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The grant that you was talking about. I want to ask Attorney Madison, is this grant for the 500 and
with about $135,000 match, yes. Yes, with the grant, with the
Okay,
match.
because the reason why I asked you, told her that, I had some questions, and Representative Sewell told us about that we were awarded $550,000 in the city of Selma for the grant police department. And my thing is here, we would like to, before, can we get a little bit more information on that grant coming from the chief of police? Because that's a lot of money that's supposed to be used in this city. It's supposed to be sort of like a community, for our police department, for things that we're requesting for public safety. Can we request for the record that we have Chief Booth to come before and let us know about this grant?
I don't see why not.
Go ahead, Councilman Carter.
Is there a question whether the grant is already provided?
No, we already received it.
So we've already applied for it.
You were basically passing on the agreement after the application.
And we have to officially accept it.
And is there, and then we need to know if there's a match to this.
Okay. You put that question on the record?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think it's by the council, it is entitled, you did get it. And the whole by the council, so we get over $550,000. We need to know how this money was.
But you were asking for the chief of police.
Yeah.
I would think that the question is the best way to do that.
What grant is it?
To,
Okay, it is in there. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next item, council.
Number 5.
I think Mr. Turkey
That should be
stated,
cops.
he had something from Councilman Johnson that needs to be presented.
that's correct.
Yes, sir.
There were 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of property that have come to the attention of, through Councilman Johnson and through others, to the attention of the tax and the tax and license director in my office. The properties are 8 Lenora Avenue, 2327 Selma Avenue, 312 St. Anne, and 301 Range Street, which is a combination of properties, I believe, on the corner. Is that right? If you recall, Councilman Johnson, that they were on the corner, 312 St. Anne and 301 Range Street. And the last address is 2720 Etheridge Avenue. 2720 Etheridge Avenue is the only one with the picture, but there are valuations that have been set, and the council has to approve those valuations for the purpose of sale of those properties. The valuation at 2720 Etheridge Avenue is the value of the land, $1,100, and the property appears to be a vacant lot right now. I did not have those pictures with that same picture, type of picture with the others, but there's been with 312 St. Anne and 301 Range Street, there's been an offer of $12,000 for the property, and the individual has been asked to recommend whether they're willing to accept that as a purchase price or not. An offer, I'm saying the individual has been approached. The $12,000 is the demand for the property. There's an offer of $3,000 proposed for 2327 Selma Avenue, and for 8 Lenora Avenue, an offer of $12,500 has been proposed. I want to point out something too, though, that for me, an offer to purchase usually comes from the buyer. The demand comes from the seller. So I want to make sure that I clarify the range of properties being discussed is as between the buyer and the seller. But the council will set the purchase price, not the buyer or the seller, not the seller,
Right.
not the purchaser.
Let me say that. Councilman Johnson, I'm saying, you want us to hear this. This is the first time we're hearing this. And so, I don't have anything in front of me. I'm just going off what the attorney is saying. If appropriate, can we place this on work session?
Yes, and I have no problem with it, and actually, that was the tax license office, but it I know on St. Anne there was more, because that's a baby house, you can get it down, but she wouldn't do the tearing down, because you got a lot of practice, used inside the house, and no wires, no nothing. And she went and said that house torn down. And the one behind her on is a building on Rain Street. It's really, you know, what she had the stuff to us. I think she made a hole as well on that. But I agree, I have no problem taking this and hopefully we can.
I think there are pictures, but for some reason I was only sent one of the pictures, the one on Etheridge, 2720 Etheridge.
Well, I don't know about that one. I'm just, my pretty concerned with the Lenore, saying.
And you believe there are pictures already, is what you were saying?
Sir?
There are pictures already, is what you were saying? I can get them, I can get them.
Yeah, also on, Lenore, that was his, possibly the city. He was back in years ago, but really going to and also, if you go there, there's a lot of bars there, and with him and some other church leaders want to tear that down and have something in the community, because there's some abandoned buildings as well. We get some pictures of that as well. I think they may want to make a home.
We'll get pictures of all.
Yes. Thanks. So we'll put that on the work session agenda, for next meeting. Councilman Carmine.
May I also request, getting, flat tax and assessment values and all that?
Said plat maps and what else?
Assessment values, tax assessment.
Yeah, I think that was already,
I think that is there from the tax and license office, but not the plat maps.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, now let's move on.
President Young.
You have anything else, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. There's one other letter from the mayor, and I have copies here for each of the council members. Oh, I'm sorry, that. These are individually addressed.
Oh.
These are individually addressed.
Okay, Crystal Thomas. Okay. Okay.
Council, Council President Young, I was just asked by Councilwoman Janie Thomas if I was going to read this. I was asked to read this. Since it's your meeting, you have to determine whether or not you want me to do that.
Who typed this up?
You have to ask the mayor.
Is he behind the door?
I don't know, Councilman Marvel, I don't know whether, I'm serious.
Yes, sir, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Can we ask the attorney to, publicly tell us what this is about?
I think that it would be best,
I sure want to know, so let me go get.
wait a minute. Hold on, everybody. We're just receiving this. And so, like with other things, we need an opportunity to look at this. This has not been sent to us at all. So council, is there any objection in taking this up at the work
He's
session?
giving us a letter, he said he had one more item, so see about what he.
Well, I believe we need to study this and then find out exactly what we ought to do about it. Okay. All right, any objection to placing this on the work session?
Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ain't no objection. Cause I'm tell you something. No, sir.
Okay,
More than be on the council contract is for community law enforcement.
Everybody name on it.
Okay.
okay.
But Mr. President, can I get me a lawyer?
I'm trying to
Okay.
avoid confusion,
Okay.
further confusion.
All right. Yes, sir.
Let's take this up at the work session.
Okay.
All right, thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Turner, for
Not a problem.
presenting it.
And Councilman, never mind, that's my.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, do you have any other items? Yes, Councilwoman Thomas. You can.
After we get to the end.
Okay, you can make that request. Okay, yeah, I think that, yes, I think that would be good. That'd be great. It'll be under those grounds, for litigation potential litigation. Okay, so Clay's not looking it up. All right, now, thank you. Now, we'll move, on, to our, new, and unfinished business. If the attorney can have this.
I think that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you, Mr. Council Johnson. Any committees to report this time?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Thomas.
I will make my and we got down to everything that was up, which we need to understand. You know, when our citizens come before this body of council, they tell us things that they want. But if they don't tell us, they already have a relationship with other builders. And one of them, she showed up, didn't come to the meeting, but she came this time. But we were given a list of things they were required. And Ms. Edwards, Ms. Menifee told us that she had been working with them on everything up there, except what they really wanted. They really wanted to have a tourist for. They were concerned about the times and the days that tourists want to have events or come through. And we did work around it, but she's gonna deal with them and work on that. Also, we talked about, they talked about some work needed to be done. What was the amount of work, Mr. Harvey?
I think part of the issue was when we looked at the last spreadsheet that had been given us that mentioned the amount of insurance monies that has been sent to the city for that building. It was like $36,000. However, Ms. Menifee expressed to us quotes that she had received to make repairs were almost 3 times that. And she mentioned that she was actually going back to somebody locally who mentioned that they might get a little low.
Okay.
And we're gonna bring them back to us. And I want the council, since we were in the middle of our, we're going to go in the budget. And So we can work on that, and also we need to look at too with the Dallas Academy. It's really, it's a lot of problems, a lot of work to be done in the Dallas Academy. So we have to look at if we can use our American Rescue Fund, or whatever we can do to get these facilities back up, open. And, we'll bring you probably, she probably have that, for us to have the next work session on what we need to look at.
Okay, thank you.
But we did get somewhere with them, and, hopefully it'll work out.
Okay.
But also, make an update on the deal.
Just to follow up, I would like to, as a member of that, thank Ms. Benedict.
If she can.
She was prepared. And she was prepared, and she didn't just show up, she brought us information.
And, good clarification. What building are you all talking about? The first building, we're talking about the Smith. Okay. And the second building we're talking about is that's Academy. Then we have she told us, gave us an update on the convention building. Told us, like on the outside, we see that the work is being done, but in the inside, they're working.
And to be more specific on Smith, she said that she had a custodian that was supposed to start. And okay, she was interviewing, and she was also interviewing for a tour guide.
Yes.
She had two people that she was doing an interview, and as soon as those things were done, she was also going to work on the elevator situation.
Very good.
She has a good report.
That's glad to hear that. All right. Any other commission want to report at this time?
Just to, I will, if nobody else wants to go, just a reminder that we will start our budget meetings tomorrow. I would like to, if I could, take this opportunity to request
Go ahead.
Cindy, I don't know if it has been, President Young has requested this before. And if so, even if it's a duplicate, I would certainly like to get the debt schedule, the city's debt schedule, which includes all entities for the city, along with amounts owed, and also what the service of that debt. I have one more, I'll let you say. And I want to say why I'm requesting this. I'm not savvy enough with the city to understand seasonal effect on accounts. So what we're dealing with in the budget process, what the mayor supplied to us was income, revenue and expense information through June 30th. So start with this through June 30th of this year. What I had requested before, and not I would like to officially request now, is revenue and expense information from July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2022. And the reason I am requesting that is I want to see the seasonal effect of these revenues and expenses. For example, we may have received $12 million of a revenue, and our budget is only for 13, and we have a couple of more months. I don't know what the seasonal effect of that's going to be. I don't know if the next 2 months we're going to get another $5 million or nothing. So it would be extremely helpful in this budgeting process so we can see the seasonal effect of that.
All right, you said 7/1/21 through.
Yeah, July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022.
All right, thank you. Any other committees want to report at this time? Any other committees? Just remember, we have a revenue committee meeting on this Monday, August 15th at 4:00 p.m. Yes, sir.
Yeah, question. The September the 5th meetings for budget will move to the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the magistrate office was added to the 6th. Okay, she was requesting that. She asked me to request that on her. Thanks.
Any other committees? Go ahead, Council Crawford.
I'd just like to make a public request that we have a thermostat. I think our 1965 thermostat.
What was that sound was for a second? All right, any other committees? All right, let's move on now to new and unfinished business. First item under new and unfinished business is the Selma Water Works and Sewer Board appointment. We said in work session on Thursday, Councilman Johnson's term expires on August the 11th, 2022. So we have a position that needs to be filled on the Selma Water Works and Sewer Board. At this time, the board is open for nominations. Yes.
I have a nomination.
Yes. Okay.
So I nominate for this.
Yes, Councilman Johnson.
I'd like to ask a question first.
Yes.
I'm good with the time frame, yes. But I be sure, it's too late that this my time is ended. I'll be serving the remaining time of someone else, or was it based on the 6 years?
According to the appointments that I have, it says your appointment shall expire August 11, 2022. And your appointment began, it was retroactive August 12, 2016, and shall expire August 11, 2022.
The other is November 29th when I proceeded, November 29th, 16, and expired 8/11/22. Because what happened, I went in, was good. And what I did was good when I started, I remained, I took it time, so that action, I didn't do it quite 6 years, I'm good. But basically what I'm saying is, I'm noticing the 2 months, we looked at this. And we noticed that even when we looked at the one of the Thomas, we had some other directors on that spot. For a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to overlook this. And then one minute.
I get on my agenda to look into the other.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So we need to get all of them up today.
yeah, we need to, because like I said, I have no problem. But my point again, these been expired. But all of a sudden, mine is red headed, but I don't get it. But I'm good with that. Okay, let's move forward with that. Yes, but I like making nominations.
Okay.
My nomination is Mr.
All right. Are there any other nominations? Councilman Carter.
I'd just like to make a point, because I think I made this point Thursday. Any board or authority's terms are originally set when the board or authority is created. From there forth, you have to follow the exact same.
And I agree, and he is here. This is Chuck right here from 1966.
Somebody saying,
And Judge Nunn at the time was a attorney.
Right.
Explained this to us, and it's stat, and just like the gentleman said, like right now, Ms. Thomas took the pick, and that was in her term since 2018. So that means from 18 to 16, 6 years with Ms. Thomas, she got to be read up in 24. It don't sound right. It seems like she should be read up in 28. But
Yeah.
Right, correct.
But I don't think that's what everybody's in agreement on.
Right, we good. As long as we said we base it on the chart, I'm good with that. My time is up. Okay, it is up. There's no doubt. I'm not arguing with that. I just want to make sure that I'm having, yes, we got other directors that y'all.
And we need to look into those too and get everything. We need to get it all ironed out. Are there any other nominations?
I ain't heard the nomination.
The nominations are former Mayor George Evans, Councilman. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right. Is there a motion to close nominations? Is there a motion to close nominations? All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Please allow me to reflect that it was moved by Councilman Johnson, properly seconded by Councilman Carmichael to close the nominations for those individuals listed. Ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville,
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael,
Yes.
Councilwoman James, Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas,
Will we call for the nomination?
Give close for those two names.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
All right. Now, council, we have before us those two names for nomination. So at this time, we're gonna have a roll call vote. And at that time, council, you may state which individual you would like to serve on the board for. Council Johnson.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
We voted back here in the last administration to have two council people on there. And right now, what we're doing, we're going out of the thing and putting another council person. It's in, we have it in writing, and we voted on it. It's in the term now. So right now, what we supposed to be doing now is replacing with another council person.
We have it so that we may have another council person. We don't have to have a council person.
Okay, but
we
we
may.
we voted on that. We need to change it.
Well, we have a council person already.
We're supposed to have one more.
We may have another. We don't have to.
Okay, but now that's in the ordinance, I mean, the rest of it, we voted on. it, too.
And in fact, the resolution that has you in it doesn't say anything about a council person having a certain position.
I understand, what I'm saying, but, so Mr. Turner, now, can you please pull it up and see that we voted on having two council people on that? And what happened was we kept on trying to get another council person on that, and we got voted out.
Go ahead, Councilman Carmichael.
I just want to make sure people are clear on what the law is. The state statute says you may have up to 3
May.
people serve on board of 5.
May.
State statute.
Okay, but we did put it in writing. I just want to make sure that we need to redo the resolution.
Yeah, well, it says may.
Are you saying the last
So we don't have to have,
Administration.
we don't have to have, we actually don't have to have any council members on if we don't want to. So
I'm good,
right.
but I'm just saying, I just want to make sure, I thought we did do the resolution, let me fix it and we do it over. But it did say we're gonna have 2 council people on there. We voted up to 2, but we never get that second on there.
Okay, well, we have already voted to close those nominations. So at this time, council, we are having the roll call vote to allow the council to vote on those things that have been presented, as everyone did, vote to close nominations. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call.
President Young,
Former Mayor George Evans.
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas, Councilman Carmichael,
George Evans.
Councilwoman Lisa James,
Same.
Councilman Samuel Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas,
Wait a minute, you gotta call out the name that you want.
The name that I want to vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna vote for Mayor George.
Councilman Johnson,
Can you read back the results of the vote?
4 votes for former Mayor Evans, 1 vote for Councilwoman James, and 3 abstentions.
All right. To my understanding, I think there's 3 abstentions. Okay. All right, with that said, I believe that former Mayor George Evans has received the necessary votes. So let us congratulate our newest member of the Selma Board. All right, and the resolution number at this time, council, before us, we have the resolution R256-21/22. And we will indicate in the resolution that it was former Mayor George Evans. So at this time, council, is there a vote to approve resolution R256-21/22? Is there a second? It's been moved properly second that we approve resolution R 256-21/22, approving the appointment of former Mayor George Evans to serve August 12, 2022 through August 11, 2028. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lisa James,
Abstain.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison, Councilwoman Janie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes. All right, thank you. Council, can you read back the votes, Madam Clerk?
There were 5 affirmative votes and 3 abstentions.
All right, well, council, we will place this resolution with the clerk for appropriate signature. And again, congratulations to former Mayor George Evans.
Can we correct that vote?
I'm sorry. What was it?
Councilman Johnson said yes.
Councilman Johnson said yes.
That's right.
I think she said 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's reflective of that. Okay. All right, so thank you, council, for your votes on approval of R 256-21/22. Councilwoman Thomas, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to clarify something. What Mr. Johnson said.
Yes, ma'am.
I was on the panel at the time. We did in the last administration said too, but we had a confusion because we had 2 council people that wanted to be on them. And we recommended, say, we'll wait till the new administrator come in and let them make a decision. And I was one of the council people, I was nominated by Sam Randolph, but then our former councilman Short wanted to go back on the board. So we just left that alone. So you do have the minute, I mean, said at that time on the meeting, so, yes, Miss Lisa will have an opportunity.
Well, let me add to that, Mr. President, and what we did say we was gonna allow the new administration to bring the next council president.
Okay, go ahead, council.
Let me straighten that out. No reflection to no one. You nominate me, but I have no problem on who served. I got a lot on my plate. If I would have been elected, I would do a great job, but there's no such thing. I'm trying to race behind the water board. So let's get that.
Thank you, everybody, for your comments.
I ain't trying to run up on them.
All right, very good. Now, I think our next item under new and unfinished business is the letter that you have that's dated August 8th, 2022, entitled Activating History Across the Alabama Project. And so I'm going to ask Councilman Carmichael to present this possible opportunity for us to be involved.
Everybody has it in front of them. This is the conservation fund. It's a national nonprofit, and they're working with the city of Montgomery, the city of Whitehall, the city of Selma, where they're asking for our support, and the city of Marion to highlight the civil rights trail and the voting rights movement, and they would like our support in this grant. And basically, they're going to be working on, I don't have it in front of it, but they're going to be working on ways to create pathways, bike trails, walking trails, things like that on Highway 80. Which is something that's, I think it's badly needed. There's not room to walk. You know, when you try to walk from Selma to Montgomery, there's not room. And there's other organizations that work on bike trails. This is kind of cumulative, bring everything together and highlight the historic nature of the areas, along with some recreational activities.
Okay. All right, council. Anybody have any questions for Councilman Carmichael concerning agreeing for this letter of support for activating history across the Alabama project?
And again, this is a letter of support that we're voted on, and, activating history across Alabama project. There's a save the date here, for Saturday, August 13th. Mayor Stephen Reed, the city of Montgomery, the Conservation Fund representatives from historical sites from Perry, Dallas, Lowndes, Montgomery, Macon counties. It's a partnership meeting, and so join us as we kick off the ambitious partnership that we're holders and sites along the Selma Montgomery National Historic Trail in the Blackwell region and ignite a trajectory towards ensuring Alabama's civil rights history is protected forever. The Conservation Fund has done vast amounts of recreational trails across the U.S. They get funding directly from the federal government and many state governments. It's a good thing. I think they're going to work on this. I think this grant goes through 2025. We can hear more about it at that same date. And if y'all need me to, if you want more information, I can pass you the guys' contact information. When did
Approve this letter.
approve this letter?
Councilman Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hey, this considers, both sides, going and coming, or one way back? You know,
I'm not sure. I think the general nature of the grant is to kind of build a plan, and get all the groups that want to do it together and kind of work on a plan together and then try to implement it.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the letter of support concerning activating history across the Alabama project?
So moved.
Is there a second? Please allow this reflect. It was moved by Councilman Carmichael and properly seconded by Councilwoman Janie Thomas to approve the letter of support concerning activating history across the Alabama project. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville,
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas,
Yes, given the president authority to sign that. And I thought that was gonna be included in the motion.
Yeah, this is just a letter from the council.
Okay.
So we can, yeah.
Councilman Carmichael,
Yes, and I assume when the council votes in affirmative, the president can,
Yeah. It's just.
Councilwoman James,
Yes.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, council. Yes, ma'am.
I forgot to ask you, I'm going back, I know we voted on it, but can we have a meeting of all the five board, on the water board?
Make that request.
I like to make a request, not on the water board, on all boards. I got to see where that, all boards that have 5 terms.
All boards that have a what?
And 5 terms, and we still have people working on boards that, I know this particular board have. So more people that have 5 terms.
That's your question.
And I think that is the thing, I think more sensitive you put on it.
I agree. All right, any other new and unfinished business at this time before we take up the request for Councilwoman Thomas?
It's a new business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's a come on. Oh.
Okay.
You wait on me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
let's see. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. I think this is important. All right, first of all, I want to request, I can't find in Unicode where we created a landfill department separate from a public works department. nor a landfill director, separate from a public works director. And, you know, according to the job titles, that is still part of the public works director job title. And I just want that information in my hands to see how that was created and any information around the creation of that and the director. And it also states in the Department of Public Works and Creation Department and Jurisdiction that, as I said, they're over the city cemetery landfill. It also states that they shall make a monthly report in writing to the city council at its first regular meeting in each month, stating specifically the amount of work done on the streets, by the portion that is charged during the preceding calendar month, the nature of the work done, on what streets or in what portions of the city said work was done, and what part of said work was done by our labor, and what part was done by convict labor, together with an itemized statement of the expenses incurred. And this is not unusual for department heads to have to make written reports to the council due to what's written law on how or what the options are. And moving further, I want to emphasize under section 2-29, rules of procedure for the city council, subsection 25 says, this is already written in law for the city of Selma. The clerk, engineer, attorney, and chief of police, and such other officers or employees of the city of Selma shall, when requested, attend all meetings of the council and shall remain in the council room for such length of time as the council may direct. I'm just reading the law here. So, you know, this is the reason these things are written down is so cities can move forward. If they aren't here to discuss items, to answer questions, it's going to be really hard to move forward. That's why we want to uphold the laws that are in place. All right. Again, I just want that to be on the record that we have stated in the council meeting what the laws are, and I'm sure we'll probably have another attorney pop up information on that to make the right. I'd like to make a request for the list of properties that have been demolished since entering office. I think we discussed the revoking of the business license far enough in Thursday's meeting, and I'm hoping that the clerk's office and the city attorney's office can work together and follow up on that, get our legal notice out by a week from today in order to have 7 days notice on a public hearing so that we can hear from that business license holder and follow through with the needed resolution or vote against the resolution, whatever the pleasure is. And lastly, let's see, with the help of some very smart people, I have found some information from ADM, and we've been had some correspondence with ADM for at least since the beginning of 2022. There have been issues that have been found. There have been issues that have been resolved. We have new correspondence from ADM that I think everybody should have. I was going bring that up tonight, but I think it would probably be better served if everybody had the information in front of them and had time to read it for the next work session.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding what. I think the question was asked, when the mayor was standing right there. If we had had any contact from ADM on any deficiencies at our landfill, and he said no, not to my knowledge. So you're saying we've actually received that?
Oh, yeah, we've received letters and they've written certified letters in response. We've received certified letters from ADM. And ADM has responded to certified letters. So, yeah, it's on record on ADM's website. It's tough to find, but some smart people help me find it.
What date is that?
Well, it starts, the ones from this year started January of this year, and there's correspondence every month. Once you get fined, and the fine, I know we discussed this before, the fine was $15,000 from September of 2020. That's the last time we were fined. And once you get fined, they come check you regularly. So, you know, it's just to say that everything's fine and dandy when one of them says there's gas cans. There was a trench dug and gas cans pushed over into the trench and covered up. That's what weather related this year. So you know, this is public information.
That's the only fine we got.
We have not gotten another fine yet. These are issues that were happening that we were paying somebody $72,000 to not have issues, and another one, an additional $10,000, the public works director to be an interim landfill director to not have issues, and we increased the pay of another one to act as supervisor of the landfill, and I believe he quit.
Can I respond?
Sure.
Looking at these trailers that are going by, and when they're picking up all this trash is piled up, our guys don't sort that out, they just grab it and put them back in the truck. So you saying, you're asking, when they get out to the landfill, they should be separating this stuff to see what's what.
That's exactly right. It even states that in some of these letters. There's procedures that you have to go through to make sure that there's no garbage, there's no flammable thing, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, just real quick on that, who was the public works director for years and years, Ron Blank. His procedure was to separate it before they picked it up. You know, he had code enforcement go down through there and separate it out. That way you didn't pick it up and waste our time. You know, the garbage and everything was separated. It was only live. If somebody has that stuff in their trash pile, they're supposed to be fined.
Yeah, I understand, but do you realize that there's a lot of that we have, and we're already short. We don't have enough equipment and stuff to swim through that, but what I'm saying is, I think we got some trucks that broke down back in recent. I think we had several trucks down, we get some repair. And plus, we don't have enough drivers that certified with the license. But now, I think we've done pretty good at not be fined again. Now, even though we get rid of some things. But see, you're gonna find something, I'm pretty sure you're gonna find something in the city for the landfill. But I think we've done good. I think we've done good, considering how bad it was and what we had now. So, but I don't want to make it seem like this person didn't do nothing. But right now, they got us out of a jam that we was in, and I'm gonna give praise to it. Think about what we. I mean, it sounds like we're saying we paid this long.
I didn't mention it.
No, you mentioned numbers. You mentioned amount we're paying this, we're paying that, $70-something. You were saying we're paying some basis.
In response.
Right, I'm saying, right, but I'm just saying, you mentioned them, that's why I brought it up, about you paying this, we're paying this, we're paying that. I'm saying, right, no, that's why I brought up, I heard you talking about it, that's what I was saying. But anyway, let's make it also show, but I just want to pray that what you're saying, I understand saying about the laws and stuff, I just hope afraid that we don't go back into where they wanna close us down, no more violence again. And I agree, once they found us back here at that particular time, because I was part on that, I was part of the committee when we were talking about it. So, so far, we haven't been found again, but if it is, once it's possible, they get fined, we don't get back up.
Okay,
President,
can we finish up? Go ahead,
yeah,
Council
one more
Crawford.
response.
Okay.
You mentioned not having enough equipment. Can we have a capital equipment committee meeting sometime soon, you think?
Well, let me say it like this, we don't have to, because we get everything we pretty much need. So right now, that's the reason why they ain't been having capital equipment.
I thought you said we didn't have enough equipment.
No, what we're saying is that sometimes the equipment is broke down with the road up there. We don't even have enough drivers sometimes to operate. We trying to get somebody now with a license. Understand what I'm saying?
I do, that makes sense.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't have enough drivers to drive the equipment. You know what I'm saying? So basically, again, let's go back to the capital equipment meeting. Why should I have a capital equipment meeting when we get everything we need? You know what I'm saying? So far, now, give me a committee that I can handle, Mr. President. So this time, I'm gonna make sure that we change the committees up. The last time we did, everybody understands, so that way I can have my meetings. Right now, we didn't have to have a capital committee.
Okay, let me ask you.
So we can do it, executive session.
You have a quick, my recollection.
Go ahead,
Just real quick.
hold on. Council Hartfield.
My recollection, when we asked the mayor, I can remember, we asked him if we had been fined, not if we had gotten a letter. So I wanna make sure, he said we had to get in contact with him to his knowledge. What I think the question was, have we been fined? He said no.
Okay, now, let me just ask, Council Johnson, you still want to chair that committee?
Which one?
The one he's talking about, the capital equipment?
I'm still chairman.
Okay, so do you desire to?
I like to, when the new, this year come in, we change up, you know, oh yeah, I was all about public safety, public work, well, I don't want this company being the same thing.
So you don't, so would we make new? I would like to do something. Okay.
Let's see, anybody else want to change?
Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, now, council, any other new business? I'm sorry, unfinished business.
Yes.
I bring this unfinished up in the next meeting.
Okay,
I
great,
always put it, because me, this council needs to know.
thank
And
you.
we said we need to be aware.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Hartfield, thank you.
Just a quick, back in the fall, Mr. Steve Wood and Chris Will came and inquired about leasing a piece of property that backed up to the ball fields. I'm gonna do some research on it. He contacted me this week and asked me why, if I was aware of an individual leasing this property, and I said, no. Council's attention that it is at least, he said, well, the fellow introduced himself and said he has leased this piece of property and wanted to know if he could hire Mr. Criswell to push the pocket forward. That is the 56 acres that the city owns, just behind the Dallas County Golf Field. We, is someone introduced the lease on this property?
That I'm aware of, 56 acres behind the ball field.
Right, behind the ball field.
I don't know anything about a lease on that property. Sure.
The man,
I think it did.
the man came forward.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, we had the people that came forward, come out leasing the hand for $100.
That's the guy, that's the one I'm talking about. We never responded to it.
That's the one that we didn't.
And he's come back to me and said, what happened to me?
Oh, we haven't voted on it yet, yeah.
But now he's saying somebody else has leased the property.
And
That's why he's asking.
Council, I'll be glad to check it.
please look into that. Thank you. And Mr. Attorney, I know there's a lot upon you,
But I'll be glad to check into this one.
because we're responsible for city property. And if we don't know that, that would be a problem. Yes, thank you, Councilwoman Thomas. Go ahead, make that request official on the record.
Yes, I would like to know if there is a lease has been signed on that 56 acres behind the ball.
Because the council will have to have signed off if there is a lease in effect. Okay, yes, sir.
When you talk about funds, the question was all funds correspond correspondence or any other information received. That's what I'm saying here, just be clear about that.
Okay, all right, any other business? Go ahead, Councilman.
I like to put this for the record, because this is very important with our traffic light. L.F. Anderson in church, I don't know, if Levi has, retired, but we have a main light out that they run through, it's been out for a minute. And, we got one, I came down through, I almost got tore up right here on Franklin in that light is out. So, I would like for them to see, what we need to do for get those lights. Or either bring some stop signs out on L and post stop signs.
Okay, all right, that question is made on the record. Any other unfinished business?
I have something, there was a gentleman who approached me, Mr. President, immediately prior to the meeting about Big Star Grocery LLC. And I think this was presented at the end of my report last Thursday as an emergency add-on, because I did not have it when I submitted my report to the council. He was here tonight, he's still here tonight. And I thought it was placed on first read. I just wanted to clarify that based on the record.
Big Star Grocery was placed on first read already, correct?
Yes,
That's
that's all I wanted.
Is that for a different location?
Yes,
Okay,
transfer license for 2800 Citizen Parkway.
That's what I have.
okay, that's what you have, Mr. Turner.
Correct.
So that's been already placed on first read.
That's to the
And now we need to vote.
the best of my
yes or
knowledge.
no?
Yes,
Because it was placed on first read already.
yes.
And what was the address on there again?
2800 Citizens Parkway.
Wait, Councilwoman Thomas said it was not.
What day was it that, because at the last council meeting, you all voted for the property on Dallas Avenue. So when was this placed on first read?
Thursday.
No,
Not this past Thursday. was it?
No, I'm sorry.
there was a public hearing at the beginning of last meeting for the one on Dallas Avenue.
That's
Last
correct.
Tuesday,
Last Tuesday, at the, or the last meeting.
The Tuesday before we put it on first read.
2 weeks, four,
2
4
weeks,
you said
yeah.
4 weeks.
At the last council meeting, we had a public hearing for, the Big Star Grocery on Dallas Avenue. Because we had approved, and then that one got approved. At the end of your report, you introduced this one to go on first read at the same meeting.
It's same thing, yeah.
Yes.
And so we did both
I was
places.
wrong about the meeting, but I was pretty sure it was
Okay. And this is for the location, located
at
where?
2800 Citizens Parkway. I was wrong about the meeting day, but I believe it was placed on first.
With that said, council, is there a motion to approve, the license, for Big Star Grocery, for the address that's indicated by our attorney?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please allow Mr. Reflector to move by Councilman Johnson, properly seconded by Councilman Jimison to approve the license for Big Star Grocery as indicated at the address by our attorney. Are we ready for the question?
Yeah, is the reason we have held a public hearing for the Dallas Avenue location because there was some opposition
There was concern.
and there's no concern?
We have not heard of any concern. All right, ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Councilman Harville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
No.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman James. Councilman Randolph. Councilman Jimison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
Yeah.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, council, any other unfinished business? Okay, now, with that said, I think Councilwoman Christie Thomas indicated, possibility. Oh, what's your name, sir?
Mohammed.
Muhammad?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Muhammad, we're pleased to let you know that we did approve your alcohol license application. Yes, sir.
It's a transfer application, for the gas station.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you for that, Councilwoman James. All right, with that said, Councilwoman Thomas, Johnson. Okay, Councilwoman Thomas, would would you like to make the motion to go into session? Okay, Councilman Carmichael.
I'll move to go into executive session for a period of 15 minutes, citing section, out of code section 36-25A-7, subsection A-3.
For a second. Move proper second as we go into executive session pursuant to Alabama laws indicated by Councilman Carmichael in the motion. Are we ready for questions? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Councilman Harville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas. Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph. Councilman Jemison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
All right, we're in a period of executive session, no more than 15 minutes.
That resolution, call me tomorrow and I'll give you a number for it. Didn't he say there was a resolution they had to get a number for?
He has it.
He has it.
Yeah, the one he just voted on tonight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he read it. He can give one.
I know, but it needs a resolution number. He said to be added when I gets back, but we can do that.
I don't think what I have, because I just have to put one of the vote on the ward board tonight.
Yeah,
He has.
okay, and, yeah, so we'll need that, and,
Had the name and email, I will mail it to you tonight.
okay. Yeah, I'll have to, yeah.
I'll email it to you. You can do that, you know, when you go to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, do you have the format so it fits on the paper?
The paper.
I don't have it because I've never done them, but,
They have it out. For me, these, I'm just doing it because they don't have.
I think their lines are that close to the edge.
It may not be, but I'm giving it my best shot. I don't know who changes them, how they change, but.
There's a format, Deborah has it,
It's not serious, but I don't know if I gotta do anything that's different, I'm gonna leave it alone.
just put the number, type the number. Oh, well, you can't do that until I tell you what it is.
I have it on, I'm gonna change it, and email it. I usually send it to y'all when it can be changed if need be.
Oh, I thought you said we got it.
No, this is one, I know we gotta get it back. He wrote it, hand wrote it in there, but I'll change it so it'll be typed. Would that work better?
Oh, yeah, that needs to be typed. I thought there was one, he said, not have a number.
Possibly,
You would have to get it from Ivy, but we could do that.
Okay.
Stay.
Judge, before I.
No, but I know.
Then I hadn't heard from her. She was supposed to text me when they got to Chicago. I hadn't heard from her.
I hadn't heard from her. I imagine she's kind of busy.
You think so?
Or maybe they laid over somewhere.
But that'd been the time to call us, let us know. I think something,
She's not-
but he's never been to Chicago.
But
I don't think so.
they had to go through St. Louis, didn't they? Or no, that's what,
No. There you go.
St. Louis can be screwy. Depending on where you're going, I guess.
You got any change on it? Let me get back. I called her. She promised. We sit up in back talking about you. Me and Cindy talking about you right here. I said, no, she said she hadn't heard. Don't you know we were about you one? Hold on, put you on speaker. You on speaker? Hello?
She's not on speaker.
Hold on.
Hello?
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Hey, you here?
Hi, I did. Cindy, I reached out to you on your cell phone today. You didn't see it?
Nope.
I did. I was wondering why I didn't get a response from you.
We're on Facebook.
Huh? We're on Facebook.
Yeah, it's the executive session in the council meeting.
And you're on Facebook now?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be on Facebook.
We'll call you tomorrow.
No, let me call you. Let me call you. You call Cindy back. Bye-bye.
Bye. Not much better. Let me ask you something, Council Secretary. Did we discuss anything tonight about SBA? Who's true?
Oh, I don't know. I would have check in on that. Yeah. I know it wasn't on the agenda, but I would probably check in. I will take it out.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Granddad. Hey, your father, something. Give my number. Get it taken with some car. Issue with the phone. We got it. I need to go back there. Everything all right with the family? Oh, okay. You be ready to run the ball next week, Bob. You look. Get over it. He doesn't be seriously do that. He can be seriously doesn't act. Okay, it's my. I thought I was late. Took a shot.
Open the window.
Open the window, we gonna,
Open the window.
we got everybody,
Look. Open up here. Here. Open up.
open it. Miss Cindy, are you available? Miss Cindy?
She's on the phone, but I.
Okay. All right, all right. We have returned, is there a motion, to go back into executive session? Your second. All right, please allow the minutes to reflect that it was moved by Councilwoman Christie Thomas and properly seconded by Councilman Harville to go back into regular session following our executive session. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Councilman Harville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas. Councilman Carmichael.
Yes, and note that took 8 minutes and 38 seconds.
Excellent.
Councilwoman James. Councilman Randolph. Councilman Jemison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas.
Yes, it was a yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Okay. All right, with that, council, we're back in session. Is there any proposed, action through a motion following our executive session?
President, I just suggest that Councilwoman James will be taken since she's.
Yeah, she got it.
I got it.
She took it. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Councilman Carmichael.
I'd like to move that we hand the 2 documents titled affidavit and response to City Councilman Troy Walker's request, blah, 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 that we received from Attorney Madison via to Attorney Siegel.
All right, is there a second?
To give an opinion.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we produce, submit the affidavit and the response to some City Councilman Troy Arnold's request, and other, to, Mr. Bobby Siegel, for legal analysis and recommendation. Yes, sir.
This, I think the second page is in response, when I said, let's talk about specific, what the mayor, let's talk about the council. I don't know, I think this is just information purposes, I don't think it needs to be references. These contracts, I think that has a lot to do with what opinion we're, you know.
All right. All right. Did we move, did you get a second on that? It was moved by Councilman Carmichael, seconded by Councilwoman Christie Thomas to submit, the documents to Attorney Siegel for legal analysis and recommendation to the council. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Councilman Harvey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas. Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph. Councilman Jemison.
Yes.
Councilman Janie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
All right, thank you, council. Any other new or unfinished business? Hearing no further business, Selma City Council, thank you for coming out this afternoon. This meeting stands adjourned. I'm not as angry as you.
Cindy.
You want that?
I give you mine.
It look like, and Jim, come back and bring it. Jim.
Give Ms. Ellison your information.
Do we need to say that?
No,
Oh,
submit that.
let it go.
Ms. Ellison, take care.
Okay, I think I might have it, I think I might know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I just wanted to say something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, is it this?
What time we supposed to start? Tomorrow, right?
No, Thursday.
Tomorrow, please. Okay.
Hey, she said something about a new something, then they gonna, at the meeting, about y'all.
I think I'm about to graduate too.
Oh, hey, y'all, we got 3 on you. Oh, we finna become a municipality of that Alabama. She would have been there, if she hadn't. And Clay, then we could have made Clay. Hey, look.
Your Christmas graduate next year.
Hey, but look.
Y'all graduation.
Well, that's a good thing.
We'll have somebody coming out every year. We'll have somebody coming out next year. Yes, ma'am.
We'll have 2 coming out next year.
What I have?
And Chris,
Oh,
Chris would have been out this year. You, when that girl got that thing. Oh, you graduated.
Okay, and I got the frame. But anyway, I got the frame in my car, I think. I got it in my car.
If you.
Yes, it is.